trade war wages on, some Chinese companies are looking to move their manufacturing to the U.S. to avoid the Trump administration's tariffs. Crystal Hu joins us now with more. Crystal, how hard are these businesses being hit by the tariffs that they're now coming back to the U.S.? And doesn't this kind of feed into Trump's desire? Isn't this the whole point of his desire to do this in the first place?
America first.
Yeah.
Yeah, they told me they're getting hurt pretty badly by those tariffs, and now they're thinking maybe moving their productions to a third country or even in the U.S. As we see, some of the Chinese companies have moved their manufacturing hub to Southeast Asia.
Yeah, Vietnam has been a big winner in this conversation.
But also some companies I talked to, they're maybe in the industry of metal, chemicals, and auto parts. Their biggest market is in the U.S. So they have to be close to the market, and they have been thinking about doing that for years. And now some say the tariffs act as a catalyst for them to actually make the move. And to your point, does it play to President Trump's playbook that they want more manufacturing back? I did hear Lori Kudlow, the top White House top economic advisor, say that, if you want to avoid all the tariffs and trade war, come to the U.S.
Right.
But also, those Chinese companies tell me that tariffs is not the only reason they move here, but that may speed up the process. But also because of the trade war, they worry what the future of China-U.S. relationship will be like. Will the investments be welcome here, and will it happen? So a lot of uncertainties on that end.
Not only that, the concrete stuff is the tariffs and then the manufacturing costs, but then there's sort of the abstract fears about rising nationalism. You know, as long as the trade war keeps lasting, do Chinese consumers feel like they no longer want to buy American products? I wrote about this last week, but we had a guest on The Move who was saying that these companies, it was Gordon Chang, the author of the Coming Collapse of China, but saying that some of the American companies that have been doing great business in China for years already, over a decade, should be worried. Companies like Budweiser, which interestingly, Budweiser is viewed as a premium import in China. Right. It does very well there. Nike, which we know sells a lot in China, and of course Apple, which everyone already knows about.
Yeah, so those Chinese companies I've talked to, they're not really consumer-faced brands. They're more like suppliers for American companies here. So I don't think any retaliation will happen any soon on the consumer side in the U.S. But those companies are worried how Beijing will feel at this timing. They're moving money out of this country to support the economic growth in the U.S.
And Crystal, give us more context. Even the way you phrased it in the beginning, it was even in the U.S. that some of these manufacturers may be coming here. What percentage are we talking about? Because you spoke to a couple of business owners, but is this a one-off situation? For the most part, it's still very expensive to do business here. Southeast Asia is still kind of the leader or the winner in this trade war, right?
Yeah, so we do see some data from Rhodium Group, who is doing foreign direct investment data from China. And what their data shows is last year, investment from China actually plunged because all the trade war we talked about. But that's especially on the M&A side, because the tightening scrutiny from the U.S. government. But on the greenfield investment, this is what I'm talking about, the Chinese companies looking to build the factories and build manufacturing sites here. The greenfield investment actually see a pickup since the second half of last year. So that's the trend basically affected by the trade barriers. Of course, that's not happening in other industry. We see it majorly happen in chemicals, autos, in the manufacturing industries that the U.S. do have a needs on. But also, I think that's the trend that's happening. But also, a lot of people are having concerns. A lot of people are telling me that they're looking and they want to make it happen, but still they have this uncertainties that maybe they will wait next year to make the final investment.
A very fascinating development of the Made in America story, very unexpected. Thank you so much, Crystal, for joining us.
Thank you.